I really did not want to do this. So here's the deal. On June 5th, Adobe members were alerted with an agreement informing of changes made to software and services that says we may access your content through both automatic and manual methods, such as content review. It modifies our right to delete content for inactive accounts, and it updates the period to informally resolve disputes from 60 to 30 days. Eesh, these sound like some pretty iffy policies to agree to, but what really set people off was how there was no option to simply reject these conditions and carry on with the software. It says, by closing this window, you'll be unable to use Adobe apps and services. Now note that it says apps and services, not software and services. As I go on, you may tell how this would be misleading as it strong-arms you to take this agreement without a clear distinction and links to the terms of service to detail all these points. You go to machine learning where it says, our automated systems may analyze your content in Creative Cloud Customer fonts, defined in section 3.10, Creative Cloud Customer fonts, below, using techniques such as machine learning in order to improve our services and software and the user experience. So the next day, June 6th, after many users gave backlash, Adobe gave a disclaimer to their terms of service. Now keep in mind that the terms of service at this time has not been updated since February 17th of this year, and how we're only getting a reaction from this after it was referred to in an update months later now is very concerning. So in the future, we should be more cautious about what Adobe is putting in its terms of service. It's also worthy to note that a disclaimer wouldn't fix the situation, and a change to the terms of service would make it official. But anyway, there are a couple points at the bottom. It starts off with, Adobe does not train Firefly Gen AI on customer content. Now, the TOS earlier informed that they will analyze your content for machine learning, but generative AI is only a type of machine learning. This doesn't really address the concerns. And then, Adobe will never assume ownership of a customer's work. Okay, why are you saying that? The concern earlier was that you would access our content for review. We know we own our content. Your TOS at the time didn't even contradict that. So of course you can tell that this disclaimer was rather inconsequential and didn't really address the main concerns, being that users were told to oblige by these conditions lest they discontinue use of their software. Well, when June 10th comes around, Adobe gives another disclaimer and it sucks. It's like when you're having an argument with someone and they don't address your actual argument, just a conventionally simple version of your argument. The body lists, you own your content. We know. That was never a concern. We don't train generative AI on customer content. We didn't think you were. The issue was you said you were using machine learning. You have a choice not to participate in our product improvement program where it details that machine learning can be used for background removal and that we have the choice to opt out of the programs. This is the first time I'm hearing of that. You mean it was on before against my knowledge? So we're participating in the product improvement program by default, and if we want, we can opt out of it? And then it moves on to the licenses we require to operate and improve our products on your behalf should be narrowly tailored to the activities needed, where it also says that we can opt out of this if we want. Again, why do we have to opt out of this? Are you telling me that for the past 4 months I have been participating in this without even knowing? And then Adobe does not scan content stored locally on your computer in any way. Well, I sure hope you're not. 4.1 of the Terms of Service clarified that Adobe has the right to remove or restrict access to content, software, and services if any is found to be in violation of the terms. Okay, now is that the same thing as software and services which you mentioned before? It is capitalized after all. But alas, as other than this next part that says we do not review all content uploaded to the services and software, I could not find a single concrete definition for the terms software and services. Now, you might assume it isn't anything to worry about if it has to be uploaded, but the fact that there is no clearly defined clarification of what software and services means, especially when it's an integral part of an agreement that wouldn't let you continue using Adobe unless you accept their terms, is obviously a really major problem. So if software and services has apparently no definition, what do you mean when you say you can use available technologies like manual review to screen for illegal types of content? Now, as I was researching this, I did come across a guide on how to opt out of content analysis. So I log onto Adobe, go into Account and Security, click Data and Privacy Settings, and what do I see? So So Adobe has been analyzing content processed on their servers, but that shouldn't be anything to worry about if you never uploaded it to their servers, except it is, because that and whatever's created using any app on the cloud is scanned to ensure nothing illegal is being produced. But how do you scan if anything illegal is being produced if the condition necessary to even do that is if it is uploaded to the software and services, which you do not define, but is also necessary to even constitute what content means, being virtually anything that is produced using software and services. And I bet that refers to what everyone is using Adobe for, since if there's nothing to find about how to upload to software and services, it might mean that the real definition is actually much more simple than that. So if you have been making cloud content from February 17th, 2024, maybe even before that, since I'm really alarmed by that feature on earlier, to June 18th, then Adobe likely did have access to your local content. But now we move on to June 17th. Adobe is sued by the US government to investigate activities such as hidden fees, deliberately complicated cancellation procedures, and terms that would only be understood through numerous hyperlinks. Notably, the most expensive subscription plan is enrolled by default, while only detailing vital terms in fine print and external sources. It then sets an early termination fee without warning amounting to hundreds of dollars, and when customers attempt to cancel, they are brought to an extensively long termination process. And if you were to call Adobe, they may redirect you to another representative who would either not understand what your situation is, prompting you to go over it again, or they'll just flat out hang up on you. Now, obviously, in a perfect world, people would read the terms and conditions thoroughly before proceeding with the program, but we don't live in a perfect world, and Adobe knows that. Upon confrontation with these charges, Adobe did not have an immediate response for a request to comment. On June 18th, Adobe finally updated its terms of service. You can see that there are definitions for the terms software and services respectively, so I assume this is what that agreement was referring to. Services refer to use and access to Adobe websites, web-based applications and products, customer support, discussion forums, or other interactive areas or service, and services such as Creative Cloud. Software refers to mobile and desktop applications, sample and content files, scripts, instruction sets, and related documentation. So basically, software and services should refer to anything you use and make from Adobe, which paints a really bad picture for this warning. It's certainly unclear why content was described as having been uploaded to the software and services when clearly there is no uploading needed. So, in all, I'm very disappointed right now. I mean, I've loved Adobe for 11 years. I was largely in the dark since I never got that warning, but this is the situation so far. Let's hope for the best for those using Adobe programs and for the future of that software because, like them or not, we're really dependent on them. One of the sources was a PDF. I'll come back for any other major developments, but until then, make sure to be informed and vocal with your stance. They won't stop getting away with this kind of stuff if we keep complacent. We have to stand strong and committed.